Throughout NASCAR's history, modern technology has played a major role in the evolution of safety.
In the 60s, we blew out tires. What'd they do? We made interliners. In the 60s, we caught on fire. What did they do? They made fuel cells. Cars were getting upside down. What did they do? We made roof flaps. Wheels were flying off. What do? We get tethers. I started racing. I didn't have a fireproof uniform. I had to dip it in some sort of solution as a pair of coveralls. I didn't have gloves. Wasn't necessary. I had an open face helmet, almost like a football helmet. Now I got a full face helmet. These are all things that we've learned through the years.
With the recent tragedies in racing, the question now is, where do we go from here? Good evening, everyone. I'm Steve Burns, and this is Totally NASCAR, your exclusive source of NASCAR news. A small private service was held today in Mooresville, North Carolina for the Earnhardt family. Present were Dale Earnhardt's wife, Teresa, his 4 children, grandchildren, and extended family. Some media did make the decision to camp out and try and shoot video of the service. However, out of respect for the family in their time of grief, we did not. Sources inside Richard Childress Racing say that the team will be racing this weekend at Rockingham. Kevin Harvick, who was planning to run 7 Winston Cup races this season for Childress, will be behind the wheel of a Chevy Monte Carlo, which will carry the number 29. The car will be painted white, and the crew will be wearing plain white fire suits. Dale Earnhardt's son will also be on the track for this weekend's Rockingham 400. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who finished second in the Daytona 500, and his entire DEI team do plan on making the trip to the North Carolina Motor Speedway. Reports are he will be in a black race car. For the first time, 1 round of Winston Cup qualifying will be held on Saturday morning instead of 2 rounds on Friday and Saturday afternoons. Join us Thursday morning on Fox Sports Net as we bring you the Earnhardt Memorial Service from South Charlotte. Coverage begins at 11 a.m. Eastern, including a career retrospective and the service itself, which is scheduled for noon. Join Mike Joy and Ken Squire as they guide us through what will truly be one of the most emotional days in American sports history. Since Earnhardt's death on Sunday, one piece of safety equipment that we continue to hear about over and over is the Hans device, or head and neck support device. In no way are we saying that the Hans device would have saved the life of Dale Earnhardt, but we do want to help you to get a better understanding of it. And who better to explain than the inventors themselves? Dr. Robert Hubbard of Michigan State University and Jim Downing, businessman and former sports car racer.
In the early 80s, Dr. Bob Hubbard, my brother-in-law, used to come to the races with me and crew. We were sports car racers. We got to worrying about why drivers were hurt. And we noted that everything was restrained except the head. And so Bob started noodling on that.
The shape of the device is pretty universal for different drivers. We do have actually several different sizes and shapes, but many drivers are wearing the same shape. I'd say in kart, about half the guys are wearing the original device that we made to fit Michael Andretti and Christian Fittipaldi. And we have several drivers wearing the same shape in a more NASCAR seating position where they're a little bit more upright.
The device sits on a driver's shoulders, and straps go to his helmet. The shoulder straps themselves hold the device to the driver, and then if he's in an accident, his body starts to move forward, and his head, which used to be unrestrained, would flail about, go up, hit the steering wheel, hit a bar, go outside the window and hit a guardrail or a wall. This device stopped that, and effectively it just kept it close to his body.
I run it a couple of times last year at Phoenix and Miami, just after watching some of the videos, and you know, we're foolish not to wear it. You know, if you're an open cockpit car, you have to wear them. But you know, these cars are a little bit tighter. We have a little bit more movement. The quick disconnect is great because it's very hard to get in and out of the car with a helmet on. I'm going to try to refit it again, try to get it to be second nature so I don't know I have it on. And if I don't know I have it on, and if I get comfortable getting it releases I'm going to run it all year probably.
I think because it takes them some time to get used to a device that's really part of their racing equipment, and a lot of the drivers don't like it initially, but after they use it for a race or two, they won't drive without it.
It all depends on how you kind of wear it, and there's the one I have, I put a lot of slack in it, so you can kind of turn left to right. It's really not a big deal. You really don't realize it's even on until you go to take your helmet off and it's still attached and you can't get it off. So it's pretty good. I mean, it's a good device. I mean, I think the more and more that people know about it, more and more people will use it.
It's been proven basically around the world. It's been retested by Chevrolet over the last 9 months several times in different configurations, and the device works.
So again, the Hans device works like this. It slows acceleration of the head, protecting the neck, spine, and brain from damage caused by sudden stop. It moves the body and the head together, keeping the head and neck from trying to break away from the body. And it cuts down on the amount of G-forces that the brain is subjected to, which in just a 35-mile-an-hour accident can equal 25 times the force of gravity. Former Winston Cup crew chief and my partner at Fox Sports Racing, Jeff Hammond, joins us now. Jeff, we know a couple of drivers are using the Hans device. Why not more?
Well, Steve, it's real obvious right now. A lot of the guys are really concerned about the fact that the Hans device in a Winston Cup car restricts their movement, their vision, and last but not least, a lot of them are saying, we're scared of fire, and I can't get out of the car in case it is on fire.
Is that a valid excuse?
No, I don't think it's just an excuse. If you go back and kind of look at the records, the way I see it, the last 20-plus years that I've been around, can't remember anybody being injured seriously because of fire, you know, as far as being trapped inside a stock car. You know, we got onboard fire extinguishers. We got supposedly some of the best firemen in the business, and they're taking care of the guys. So therefore, I feel like that it's a situation of they just don't like the device, and they won't give it a chance, and they really need to.
From a driver's point of view, what seems to be their biggest hesitation?
Because it's an unknown, because it's something that's changing what their normal routine is. Drivers are very finicky when it comes to how they like their driver's compartment. They want their seats a certain way. They want their pedals a certain way, their steering wheel, their mirrors, their helmets, what they have as far as their office, as they call it. They like it to be comfortable for them. This right here is a totally abstract instrument that they're putting on their body for the first time. So therefore, it's an uncomfortable device, but it's one that they have to get used to.
In your point of view, Jeff, where do we go from here? What are the issues that we need to look at?
Well, number one, I think we've got to look at what we can do today. Today, it looks like the Hans device is what's on the shelf and is readily available to every driver out there in today's field. So we need to look in that direction first. Then we need to continue to research as far as what other injuries may be occurring because of this device or not occurring. Soft walls, the ability for the cars to absorb more energy. All these little things need to keep being researched. We don't need to just stop here and say, well, put this on, it'll take care of it.
Well, Jeff, stick around. We have more questions for you about this big issue. When we return, Kirsten Gum visits with racing safety pioneer Bill Simpson and his version of the Hans device. You're watching Totally NASCAR on Fox.
See your Buick dealer today.
Even if you restrain the head and neck in this type of an injury with the forces that we're talking about, you know, hitting a concrete barricade at 150, 170 miles an hour, whatever, there's still one more element that you have to address, and that is the body has internal organs that are free-floating. With an impact of Dell's nature, even if you had the device on, hitting the wall that fast may have resulted in the same injuries.
From 1991 to early 1999, just 250 orders were placed for the Hans device. Last season, that same number of orders were placed in response to the deaths of Adam Petty, Kenny Irwin, and Tony Roper. And since Earnhardt's death on Sunday, more than 100 orders have been placed, so much so that the manufacturers say there is now a 2-month waiting list. Bill Simpson has been racing's pioneer of safety for more than 30 years. His name and research lives today in the development of the modern fire suit, helmet, and window netting. But over the last few seasons, Simpson has focused much of his effort on different head and neck support devices. Kirsten Gum visited with him to find out about his newest invention. Kirsten?
Steve, since last summer, Bill Simpson has been working on a device which uses a series of straps and clips to help protect drivers from neck and head injuries, but will still allow drivers the range of motion that several of them say is an important part of race car driving. Okay, Bill, this is your version. This is the Sears device.
Yeah, we call it a Sears device, yes, that's correct. And what a driver will do is he'll step into this, and these straps will come up around his thighs. Then we have another belt that goes around his chest, and it's hooked here. And if Rick will sit down, I don't know where, you have him sit here? Yeah. Okay. When he sits down, he's actually sitting on those supports. So when you pull on this way, it's really pulling down here. Okay?
Okay.
All right, and then when he puts the helmet on, when you hook these, that's a quick release little buckle. And now he literally can't move his head forward.
At all. Go ahead and try. How does that feel? Do you feel like you move around at all? Can you turn your head left to right? You can turn your head left to right.
Yeah, the range of motion is not impeded at all. It's just from forward or a side impact this way or this way, it'll prevent the head from going forward.
The amount of force on the legs, if in fact they're in a crash, if it's pulling from the legs, is there any concern about what it's going to do down here?
No, none whatsoever. I wouldn't be concerned with that.
Because you said it's similar to most jumpers use.
Yeah, like jumping out of an airplane with a parachute harness on. It's exactly the same thing. So, I mean, those guys, they fall 300 or 400 feet before a parachute opens, and they get quite a bit of shock load against them. So I wouldn't be concerned about that.
The difference here between the Sears device and the Hans device, and your opinions on the Hans device?
My opinion, it's a great invention. I think that probably that there's some resistance from guys that sit in stock cars that are upright rather than an open-wheel guy or a dragster guy where he's sitting in a car and they're not moving much in those cars. Winston Cup drivers move around quite a bit, and I really believe that that's what their resistance is to the Hans device. But the Hans device is a great piece of equipment.
You're going to do tests on this tomorrow.
We're sending it up to Dr. John Melvin at Wayne State University. They'll do crash tests with their sled, and well, hopefully the result will come back positive, because we intend to have probably 30 of these units at Rockingham over the weekend.
Again, tests on the Sears device are scheduled for Thursday at Wayne State University. Of course, we will let you know the results as soon as they're available to us. And Steve, Bill told me he expects them to be outstanding. If they are, you'll more than likely see some drivers wearing it at this weekend's race in Rockingham.
Boy, that's great, Kirsten. Yeah. Thanks very much. Tomorrow, we will look into another of Simpson's passions, soft wall technology. When Totally NASCAR returns, we'll talk to a neuro specialist about preventing head injuries in racing. Stay tuned.
We simply are not going to react for the sake of reacting. And we're not going to do something just because it's a reaction that we can take credit for. We will do it when it's the right thing to do.
Joining us now on the set, Dr. Stephen Hardy, who's a neurologist here in Charlotte, also with a PhD in neurophysiology, and Jeff Hammond once again. Dr. Hardy, we've lost 4 drivers in 9 months in similar incidents.
Yes, we've had, and they've probably all suffered the same type of brain injuries. And there's basically 3 models of brain injury, and the primary one that sort of fits these accidents is the acceleration model, where a person in a car hits a wall and their brain and body contents accelerate forward. And in particular, let's look at the brain here, and we can just take this off. And we have the brain stem, which sits down here, and this is the base of the brain, the basilar part. Right here in the brainstem are areas that control respiration as well as heart rate and our other vital functions. So this is an area that's particularly vulnerable to be injured when you have an acceleration type injury. We got to remember that the brain is not a hard fixed object like the skull. It's fairly soft, and it continues to smash forward into the base of the brain. Sometimes there can be a basilar skull fracture, or sometimes not, but these vital areas are damaged to the point that the heart and lungs don't function anymore.
What are the other areas from a medical point of view that we need to be looking at?
Well, there are basically 4 areas that I can see we need to be looking at. One is what's been looking at now is the soft walls, and that's the impact surface. The second is the car itself and its ability to absorb the energy of the impact. The third are devices like the Hans device, which, as Jeff said, is available and should be used. But I'd like to warn that that's not the panacea, that there are still going to be many other types of brain injuries that can be suffered, even if you're using the Hans device. And the fourth area that a lot of people haven't really talked about, and we study in neuroscience these days, are certain drugs or chemicals that can be what we call neuroprotective. In other words, if they're in the neurons or nerve cells before the injury is sustained, they can prevent further injury from happening.
Jeff, we should make the point, so many people have asked me in the last few days, they said, how did Tony Stewart survive the horrific accident that he did, but Dale Earnhardt didn't? It kind of gets down to physics.
It really does. What we're looking at trying to do is trying to figure out a way to dissipate the energy that these guys are, seeing. When the body's coming along and all of a sudden it stops, as the doctors alluded to, the brain keeps going, you're going to have an accident and a result of an injury that can be really bad. Whereas in Tony's situation, the car actually dissipated the energy that it had all built up by flipping down the back straightaway. It looked really bad, but as that car hit the ground and rolled and went up, it was actually spinning off all this combined energy and G-force that was created because of the flying through the air.
Essentially, the short version is it's that sudden stop.
Sudden stop.
Right.
Guys can't stand the sudden stop, and that's what's really hurting everybody.
The gravitational forces, or G-forces, are directly related to the number of feet of the stoppage. So the shorter the stoppage, the greater the G-forces are going to be. So in those areas where there's a lot of tumbling, as Jeff said, there's more area for the G-forces to be distributed over that time.
A quick response from both of you. Soft walls, how will that help?
Absorbs energy, and it dissipates the energy. It's just that simple.
Well, it's a multifactorial problem, and we need to look at all 4 of those areas that I spoke about, and soft walls are one of the areas, and I believe Charlotte has 2 turns that have soft walls in them already.
Jeff, we go to Rockingham in a day or two. Do you expect to see more drivers wearing the Hans device?
I'm going to be totally upset if I don't, because I really feel like this is an opportunity for these guys to understand that there is something out there that could give them an advantage. Let's put it that way. This is an insurance policy. It's all it is. Take advantage of what's there. You wouldn't wear a helmet, not wear a helmet and drive a race car. I'm telling you, you would not do that. A race car driver wouldn't do that. So therefore, why wouldn't you not go ahead and take advantage of this device that could allow you to go out, do your job, have fun at it, and walk away on Sunday?
I think we need to make the point also that we don't know if Dale had been wearing the Hans device, would it have made a difference or not. The forces of the brain collapsing against the skull with that kind of impact could have been enough to be fatal anyway. So that's why I agree with Jeff. We need to use every device we can that's helpful, but at least reinforce that we're still going to have brain injuries, and we need to look at all the areas there.
Gentlemen, thanks very much. Another reminder, join us on Fox Sports Net on Thursday morning as we bring you complete coverage of the Earnhardt Memorial Service in South Charlotte. Mike Joy and Ken Squire will take you back through Dale Earnhardt's career and into the service at noon. Totally NASCAR will be right back. With heavy hearts and unanswered questions, NASCAR moves on to Rockingham this weekend. The Fox networks will bring you all the coverage starting on Saturday morning with Winston Cup qualifying on Fox Sports Net. Then it's over to FX for the Busch 200 and Winston Cup Happy Hour. And on Sunday, Fox Sports has flag-to-flag coverage of what will be a highly emotional Rockingham 400. Be sure to join us again tomorrow night on Totally NASCAR. We'll have coverage of the Earnhardt Memorial Service. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow.